on the rules and considerations. Obviously, we're starting this year on the 1st, so it's already ongoing. And it runs until the 30th of November, so it's like 11 months long. And that's so that we can talk about it at the December get together. Everyone's got to be a Red Stick member. I don't know if everyone knows that, but dues paid.
And you gotta have a Google account too.
And apparently, in order to submit online on the form, it's going to ask you if you have a Google account.
Right.
If you do not have a Google account, we'll figure out how to get you a form that you can fill out otherwise. But just send the picture to me, and I'll exchange an email with you, and we'll get the information filled out on the form. Obviously, we don't want people not participating because they don't have a Google account. Fish got to be caught on flies.
That's what I told Thad. Thad asked me, and I said, I'm sure we can work something out if we had
For sure. We do the form because I guess
it was all set up that way to begin with.
Yeah, it was all set up that way, and
that was just cash.
we can include everything on that one.
I mean, I messed with the form a little bit, but yeah.
Fish got to be caught on flies with fly fishing tackle. We don't need any spinning rods or anything. No foul hook fish. I think Murray had one last year that was.
That's the reason I told you it was foul.
Yeah. So
Dugan caught that shark.
I did enjoy seeing it, but for it to count, let's actually catch it fair. The cool thing about ours compared to Kasachi or even New Orleans, I think.
New Orleans started one as
I
well,
think, we catch fish. We submit them from anywhere. If you go on vacation to Arkansas, you go on vacation, out of the country, and you catch something on the fly.
Even private ponds.
We want to see it. And now private ponds, I'm okay with that because really I just want you guys getting out there and fishing and encouraging everyone.
If you go catch a bunch of cool fish from somebody's private pond, I want to see them.
Yeah, you're catching some 14-inch sac-a-lay. Show us.
Right. Country could give you some big bass with that.
Yeah, maybe you can't win the fish of the month. I don't know, but
Well, we need some entries for the fish of the
Yeah,
month.
yeah.
Submit fish
Every
within
time.
30 days of the catch. That's just make sure you're not submitting them at the end of the year and sandbagging us all with like 100 entries.
Well, I think it says you got 30 days. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
you got a month. So I mean, if you're out in the woods for 3 weeks,
That was my other issue too, is being good enough to turn them in 30 days.
2 divisions. We have an adult, which is 18 and over, and the youth, 18 and under. And actually, I have 2 youth entries this year so far.
How'd you like a flies? Did you use the flies to catch those 2 youth entries?
No, actually, because it was whatever I had tied on from last year.
All right. You can give her flies. I'm gonna have to check with her next time I see her. Make sure you just didn't adopt them.
Just give her something to make flies.
But your youth participants
Well,
can
Todd
be
does the flies for
your
us, so-
kids, obviously younger than 18, or your grandkids. It doesn't have to just be your immediate kids. Or they can just be youth members, like high school age members of Red Stick, which, if you know anyone in high school, they can join for free, the club. Contest winner is obviously going to be whoever submits the most variety. It's not really, the way we run it is each entry or each fish submitted is an entry into the raffle. So we have a table with raffle prizes. The more entries you have, obviously, the better chance your name's going to get called first.
There's no guarantee.
So, but there's no guarantee, right? It could go to anyone.
Ben got first, and he was not.
I was
did not
second
have
the first year, but
Yep,
my
you
name
were
was
second.
called first, right?
Ben's yet to beat me.
No, I have not. And I won't, probably, I'll be honest. We'll recognize winners, draw for prizes at the Christmas party. And I even wrote, look, you don't need to be present to win, but if you're not there and your name gets called, we're going to put you at the bottom of the list. I'm going to be honest.
There you go. That's what we got.
So you'll get the last pick of the prize. You got to be there to get the nice prizes. I wanted to go through some
That means I'm putting a bunch of gag prizes in next year.
examples of what I would consider good fish photos. Here's a redfish. This is clear. I see the whole fish and the fly in his mouth. That's perfect for me. Here's one on grass. This is a bass, a largemouth bass. With I see the fly in his mouth. I understand it's on grass, but that's fine with me. It's way easier for you to handle a fish on the grass than in your hand. Do it. I don't want to see it on dirt. You know, I'd rather not see it all covered in dirt and grime and stuff like that. But sometimes I know, like I had one I turned in last year that was a gar. Gar notorious for just rolling around. I mean, certain species, yeah, obviously, you know.
The gar, the bowfin, they're
Yeah,
breeding there anyways.
right.
They're fine.
Here's another bass on grass with the rod though in the photo, and so I liked that one. It's very clear. This one's not as clear, but I can still make out what that fish is because I can see the whole thing. The rod's there. I even see the fly right here. If the focus was a little bit more on the fish and less on the rod, it'd be a lot better, but it works.
Well, most of these times you just confirm in the
That,
ID
exactly.
instead of doing the ID.
Most
So,
people, most people have already done that work,
Right.
and so yeah, it's just a confirmation. Bad photos. Here's one of Chris's.
So in my
What the hell
defense,
is that?
in my
This is a still shot.
Clam?
It's a still shot from a
yes,
video.
so this fish was caught during a catch and release tournament that required video release.
Right.
So because we're being quick,
So you got a bunch of frames to choose
yes,
from.
this
that shows
was the,
that
this
one.
was the
It
best.
must have been
frame.
raining too.
Yeah,
Was it raining?
it was raining.
Right.
It was miserable. Yeah.
I don't know that I see a fly.
What is that?
I can't see.
There's fly line on the ground, right?
That fly line on the ground, I think was my argument or something. I can't remember.
I can't see the whole
What
fish.
kind of fish is that?
It looks like a common.
Okay.
I'll do better. I promise.
I think if it's Chris's fish from now on and he sends me this, I'm rejecting.
Too many entries.
I think he's still in charge of that.
Here's another one that I can make a clear, ID from this. But the problem is I don't see the whole thing. I don't even see the fly. So there's kind of two things I don't like about it. Here's one from Brian. It was upside down. That was my one thing I didn't like about it.
I don't like to get by.
I understand.
You know what? I don't feel bad about my pictures at all now.
I at least see the fly in his mouth.
My
I could
pictures
have
are
flipped the
pretty good.
picture upside down, but that made it look more weird because then the boat's upside down.
Just stick your thumb in their mouth, they can't sting you.
Well, the thing about hardheads is, is it a gaff top or is it a hardhead? Is it
That's a hardhead.
a freshwater catfish? I know. I'm just giving Brian a hard time.
Oh,
Scared of
I'm not risking getting stung.
All right, here's another one. It just is so small. Like, I see the rod, so that's check, and I see the fish. I see the tiny fish. Trying to make out an ID on it is tough. I think it's a
Didn't
smallmouth,
want to get too close to it.
but if it's a smallmouth, that net that he's using is massive.
It's double.
I mean, that's
Small,
like a musky.
small
That's like a musky net. This was one of Joe's actually. So Joe's not here to defend himself. But just that's some examples of if you can get me a picture of
You
the
can try
entire
that.
fish.
Hey, sometimes you're trying to drop the phone in the water.
I understand, and I know. Trust me, I'm out there too, and it is sometimes really hard to get a picture. But
Especially by yourself.
do as best you can. And look, all the lanyard stuff, I like to see that too. If you get a picture, a selfie, a grip and grin, send those to, especially to just the email, and send it separate, because we got the fish of the month, our catch of the month thing we're gonna do now. So we're gonna need people to send more pictures to have content.
For ones that might have a questionable idea, if you're not sure, I mean, what would you recommend? Like, try and get obviously the whole fish, but
Yeah.
I would say dorsal or fins. Try and get pictures of the fins splayed out. I mean, what do you want to see the
whatever
ID
you
of
think
fish?
would help. I think one clear and concise picture of the whole fish
Mhm.
is usually good enough. Now,
Okay.
if there's certain things, I mean, yeah, because sometimes
I would say black
the
fish,
top,
white
you
crappie.
can lift
yeah.
up the top fin and
Right.
maybe get a picture of that or
spotted bass, largemouth if they're smaller.
Yeah.
You do run into things like that creek chub that Ken put Brian and I on, where if I had gotten a better fin picture, it would have been an easier ID.
anything that you might be a distinguishing feature. Like sometimes those top minnows have like a little spot on their head,
Right.
and and I know I've seen a picture of somebody taking under just the top of the head, but I mean it's all it's a guessing game for us.
So yeah, just take as many pictures as
Yeah,
possible,
exactly.
and like I said, try and get all the fins laid out if you can. Sometimes that's helpful with a bass, like a tooth patch on a spotted bass tongue
Yeah.
is helpful. So
Yep.
can't take too many pictures, but just try and
Right.
get everything covered.
Yeah, and again, we'll cover some of this next month. Dugan was kind enough to set something up with one of the fish and wildlife biologists, so he'll be driving out from Lake Charles. And he pretty much asked what his time restriction was, saying if we didn't limit him, he'd be happy to talk all night about fish ID. So
You said 3 hours then, huh?
So I wanted to run through just an example because I have a fish I could submit, but I can't airplay to this
Want
TV.
to airplay it?
Yeah, it's not connecting. So, and I don't have an extended cord because I think I can do it.
There you go. Got it.
All right, here we go.
Better be looking and good, yeah.
Sorry, it was on second screen. I think that's what was happening. All right, here's the entry form. Dude, I might have to email my photo to,
My Les Miles
you.
motto.
right? I think I did though, in a text.
Yeah, it's not going to be on that computer though.
I know. So anyway, okay,
Just skip that part for now.
yeah. First name, Ben Roussel. I'm an adult.
Yeah, it helps if you spell your name the same every time.
Yes, you'd be surprised. It does help to fill it out consistently.
It-
Otherwise, I will fix it.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter. You text Ben and go, I spelled my name wrong again, and he fixes it.
matters.
I will fix it. That's right.
It helps to know who you are.
Yeah.
Well, so what happens is it's a database. It goes into a database, and you always want your info that's in a database to be
Yeah, consistent fields.
consistent.
Sure.
The fields. All right, what day did I catch this? What was it?
And Grant usually
The
talk about
seventh,
like a sore
Saturday.
thumb.
Saturday, 7th. All right, so usually I do this on the phone. This is taking much longer than. All right, I caught a bluegill. So we just this is the. I'm just doing the least amount of info I can do because, look, it says fly used. I'll be honest, I don't know what 95% of the flies I use are called.
It's a green one.
So this is an
So describe it.
unweighted nymph.
There we go. What color?
It had no bead head, it was just a nymph pattern. Generic nymph. Body of water, it was a neighborhood pond. State, Louisiana. City, Baton Rouge. Other information, you don't need to put any other information unless you really feel like you need to. And then the bottom, you would add a file, and this is where if you were on a computer, you
Is that
would.
where people have been putting the weight of the rod, Ben?
Yeah,
Other
yeah, and
information,
the
yeah.
other information. If you're on your phone, you could just grab one from your phone. If you're here, if you're on your computer, you would have to get your photos from your phone to your computer and then grab it. Obviously, I don't have it
Right.
with me. So if you're not doing that part, and you don't have to have it in there, you can always email me the photo as well. That's how we did it in years past. You would just email just the photo to rsffjam@gmail.com, and then you just hit submit.
Now, when you put the photo in this way, does it allow you to name the photo or rename the photo or anything, or is it just?
No, so when you submit, it's not, you don't have to rename it, but what it will do is it'll have that original, and then it'll put dash your name,
Okay,
and then dash, I think, the species, I think.
okay.
So it does add at least your name on it.
Well, name and species,
Yeah.
that's
Does
ideal
it
right
tie
there.
it to the entry too?
Yes,
at
it
all,
ties it.
or-
It ties it to your entry, so when we,
Yeah.
so it's not gonna do it because I don't have a photo in here,
Right,
but
right.
let's just hit submit and I'll show y'all how it would look. So you get this screen after you submit, and then you're gonna, I always hit see previous response.
Yeah.
Response is just out of curiosity. And it brings up kind of a quick and dirty
graphics.
Yeah.
graphics total of
Charts.
who submitted what so far.
So Brian's got 6
And-
species
and
already.
so you can see that we already have 26 people that are 26 responses, 26 entries at least, which is pretty good for January.
Best
You could-
January yet, right?
Oh yeah.
yeah, and you could see who
Yeah,
submitted.
well,
It didn't start until.
didn't start till like January.
Plus, I got 2 more to enter, one for each kid.
Nice.
Oh, 2 kids.
Yeah. And then you could see what, what it's looking like people are catching so far. It looks like bluegill for sure, big time.
I got 2 of my kids in
I'm gonna have to.
Yours are adult kids, right, Murray? Yeah. All right.
Mason dudes.
there.
Yeah, it's not
They have
relative
adult
age.
kids.
It's not relative age, Murray.
They both have adult kids.
Right, right. But then you can see, and this is kind of why, if you misspell it, it kind of throws everything off with the graphics, because it's like, oh, we have 20 from Louisiana, but 4 from Louisiana.
Yeah, I think even caps and everything. Caps.
And then 1 from LA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said if you've got any under 18, you probably.
So what I'm saying is when you hit see previous submissions, it's not always 100% accurate, because I'll clean up the database, and that's what I want to show y'all is the database. So if you go to the main page and hit view submissions received, it brings up the actual database that all the entries go to. And so this is what I go through and kind of clean up. And see, I already have Jack's entry highlighted because I was telling him like, hey, this looks like a bluegill, Jack. And I said that over here. I think I emailed him too. But anyway, here's where the pictures end up. So you can click, you can actually go into this and you can actually see every picture.
Well, I really like that.
That's pretty cool.
So this is what he submitted as a Lipomid, and I don't know about you guys, it looks like a bluegill to me.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
bluegill.
Right. So that's when I can go through and like I'll tell him like, hey, I don't think this is anything different, and then I'll end up deleting it out eventually. I don't want him to get his feelings hurt. I want him to make sure he knows like, hey, you already
I
have
don't think you have a problem.
yeah, you already have a bluegill. This is just another one.
So another thing this is nice for is Ben did include the 2 prior years below.
Yes.
So you now have a record of what everyone caught, where they caught it, and what type of flies, what type of year it is. So if you're struggling to go, hey, I want to find, a black crappie or a white crappie, you can go through the list and start to see the places and the times of year and the types of flies people have been using to catch them.
Yeah, yeah.
So use it as a tool to help you catch
So
more.
if you wanted to put more information and that additional information, that would help.
Yeah, and honestly, we can even edit that form to add
Right.
other things if people see, if people have something they want to add that they want to see, like I don't
I'm
know.
saying, like,
if you really want to see rod or
Murray fished the other day with a single line, right?
Yeah,
Single
I
line.
appreciate
And
single line.
to me, that's additional info that would
Yeah.
be important, because you'd be like, oh, half of the people are fishing with single lines.
yeah.
You know.
Ben, would you
Yes.
show your dollars?
The dollar sunfish?
Dollar
Yeah,
sunfish.
Brian's got one up there.
No,
That's what I've been struggling with. And
They're pretty small usually, so you gotta.
He's got one.
Fish
Like a
small
silver
stuff.
dollar,
Right there.
About,
25.
yeah.
kind of like them pancakes.
All right. The big thing with dollar.
Well, I saw a couple things on identifying it in this thing, and the one thing I saw on there was a little blue.
Blue in the ear
In the
flap.
ear, yeah.
In the ear flap.
Yeah, that's what I saw. And,
Hit the lights again.
Yeah. So
yeah, you can see
there's a
these from
couple
here.
things with dollars.
So for me, Murray, dollars are tough because dollars look a lot like long ear.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So the big thing for me though is sometimes when you catch a dollar, he's going to have these spots on the ear flap itself.
That's what I thought.
Long ear don't
Yeah.
have that. And the other thing is, you see this little white underneath that ear flap?
Yeah.
You see that in orange spotted sunfish too. And that's another thing that's kind of a
Another thing they
giveaway.
had in the deal, and I saw on the examples on the lateral line, they had
Yeah.
some red dots.
That's what I was just
Red
going to
dots,
show
yep.
you. So you see how there's a line here?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can really pick up any red.
I could not on yours,
And-
but I mean.
I think
There
with
is
it,
a line.
with it being
Yeah.
January, it might be tough to pick up that red, but it's going to have at least that line.
Yeah.
to where there's a line there.
Yeah, to me, being able to look at that's a big help, you know, I really.
I can't really see the red
really
there.
appreciate that.
You can
Yeah,
Little bit, yeah.
And so you should be able to go into here and see
see
the
that.
dollars that we've
Yeah.
caught from previous years also. And honestly, over time, this is gonna end up being a really good resource for us.
Yeah.
I mean, because we're gonna have all these, fish species entered into here.
That's-
It should be a good idea.
Part of the idea, it's
Yeah.
part of the idea.
And that's the thing, I struggle with them too, though, with the fact that they do look so much like a long ear.
Yeah.
But they're a little smaller, and I love, one thing that stands out to me on them is this bottom, the
Yeah.
stomach kind of is a little orange sometimes. And I don't know if that's, and just the shape, like it just seems like a shorter, rounder sunfish than some of the other ones.
And I will say our speaker next month, he was asking about specific topics, so if there are species you guys are interested in, let me know. I did mention the common sunfish, since we get a lot of the hybrids out here, and then we're starting to catch more of these smaller species. And I also mentioned kind of the minnows, shiners, top minnows, that group, because let's face it, most of us don't have a clue half the time with those. You gotta kind of best guess it occasionally, it feels like.
We've got like 3 or 4 species of top minnow, and they all look the same.
Yes,
So-
yeah, there's a black striped, a black spotted, a black tail, I think, and they all look identical.
Yeah. I've almost, got it in my right mind to just call it a top minnow and say you get one.
I've kind of limited myself to one at this point, yeah.
All right, I think that's all we got.
Yeah, that's about it. Any
Very
other
good,
questions?
fellas. Appreciate it again.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys.
I imagine somebody starts catching much top minnows, they'll become an expert pretty quickly. We'll be